Mr. President.
The senator from Indiana.
Rise here today. We're going to be voting here later on. And in a recent Monmouth poll in January, respondents were asked if they agreed with this statement: COVID is here to stay, and we just need to get on with our lives and live with it. 70% said they did agree with this, including half of all Democrats. We've been through 2 years where we've been from here to there on it, but was an early believer, take it seriously. We didn't know what it was going to have in store for us, but I think we do now. And so often you hear, listen to the data, look at the science. Too often it's kind of been the political science of it. Vaccinations and natural immunity mean that a large majority of our country is already protected. Hospitalizations, serious illness, and even death from COVID, we can see is really going in the right direction, thank goodness. As therapeutics continue to improve, it's clear that most Americans are right. COVID is here to stay. It is endemic. We can't marinate in fear. We can't have lockdowns. We can't have one size fits all for across the country. We got to get on with our lives. President Biden recently extended the federal state of emergency under the National Emergency Act indefinitely. I'd like to point out he's not alone there in the sense that most of our governors have done the same. I only think in Florida and in Iowa, I would say that I'm guessing most citizens living in a lot of these places would like their governors to do likewise. This state of emergency makes robust powers available to the president during a crisis. It includes forgiving student loans, imposing travel restrictions, capital investments in neighborhoods deemed to be disproportionately affected by COVID. When this emergency was first declared 2 years ago this week, it was needed. It was uncertain. It was gratifying to see that in a bipartisan way, in March of 2020, we came together. But we've learned so much since then. Now, I think it's become a burden. I cite 3 weeks ago, it was in a classroom in Las Vegas. You ought to look it up. It was announced there. This is different, but it was a mandate. It was that you had to wear a mask in the classroom. The kids, I think, embodied what this whole process has been about, in that we're at a different place. It looked like they won the state championship in something. We are there. Congress has the responsibility to vote on whether to approve these emergency declarations, as we will today. Every state and community is easing COVID restrictions, and many of them have eliminated it entirely. And ideally, you fight something like this with maybe general guidance from here, but you let government, where it's closest to the people, dictate how this stuff should happen and how long it should be there. It's past time for the president and governors across the country to give up the extra powers granted to them under the COVID emergency declarations. If we're going to live with this virus and move forward as a country, we must end the National Emergency Authorization, and then other governors across the country should follow suit. I yield the floor.